Hey, everybody. Hey, I think I'm live. I'm Darci. I am the creator of the Vibrant Woman program. I'm delighted to be here with you today. This is week 4, weekly Wednesday Q&A with yours truly, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy I'm here. This is something I love to do, show up and talk with you about your most pressing questions related to health, fitness, nutrition, hormone balance, stress. Really, all of those things are related, and it's my joy and deepest heart's desire to talk to you about this and help shift this paradigm around symptomatic thinking. As if we have one problem and then we take one pill to fix it. That's the way our modern systems have been operating. We can see it's not working. What we really need to do is get back to the basics, understand what our human bodies need, the ways that they communicate those needs to us, and how we can really deepen that relationship with your body. So that's why I'm here. I hope that's why you're here. Let's just see here. I have some questions that people submitted in advance, and I want to pull those up so I make sure I get to all of them. Give me a second here to get my screen right so I can see all of this. Oh gosh. All right, let's see. I'm gonna have to just read it in this weird format because it's not wanting to let me make it bigger. Anyway, I will deal with that. Okay, while we're waiting for a few folks to come online, I just want to say this to those of you joining me, either live or in the replay. If you're wanting to know more about health and fitness, if you're really wanting to uncover these root causes of the things that are troubling you, really the root causes of all modern disease, then you are in the right place. I am a founding member of certified MAF Method health and fitness coaches and practitioners. And what that means is that I spent a couple decades of my life working with these principles of these paradigm shifting principles taught by my coach and mentor, Dr. Phil Maffetone. Some of you already know this. If you're new here, then you may not have heard the story about how I helped rehabilitate my daughter's neonatal brain injury. And I'm not going to go into all the details of that right now on today's call, but you can head over to my blog. I'll put some links in the comments so you can learn more. You can head over to my blog and read that story. The point is that, what happens so much in the mainstream is that we're told really that if there's not a pill or a surgery for something, that then there's nothing we can do. We're also pretty much led to believe we're a very symptomatic, obsessed society. And we're really we train each other to think that if there's one thing going wrong, then you need to just, add one thing, a pill or surgery, to address that. And that should take care of it. Well, look around. None of that is really working very well for most of us. And the reason is we have left out this sort of very beautiful symphony, the way that our bodies are not like nature, they are nature. They're in a constant relationship. Those cells are in constant communication with each other, with the things happening in nature outside our body. And we have just really lost our ability to see deep enough to find the root cause of things. Well, I spent a couple of decades doing this because I did not like those symptomatic solutions. I'm going to put solutions in quotation marks for the prognosis that I was given for my daughter. I had to go deeper. I had to learn more. And a couple of decades later, I love to say this, my daughter is no longer epileptic, cerebral palsy, learning disabled, and she's no longer on medications. She's an independent, successful college student. And the reason that's so important is because what I learned on that journey and helping her brain heal and helping her recover her full ability to thrive, meet her human potential, what I learned on that journey applies to all of us, not just brain injured kids, not just so people with adrenal fatigue, hormone imbalance, hypothyroidism, food allergies. That was what happened to me when I burned out on that journey. And I've used these very same foundational principles to heal myself. So different diagnoses, similar foundational principles applied, and the outcome is thriving. And it's not a mystery. It's because when we remove the root causes of the problems in our bodies, the symptoms will go away. This is the most important thing. If you only ever get one thing from me, take away this one idea. You will never be able to remove a symptom by focusing on that symptom. You have to find the root cause. You have to pull things up by the root. You have to address the root. Okay, so that's what all of this is about. And I'm going to continually, week by week, as we share questions and answers and stories, we're going to continue to just perpetuate that new paradigm shift in our thinking, because that's the way forward. That's the way to help you have a more open and honest relationship with your body. Because here's the truth. It's always asking for what it needs, and it's always telling you what it doesn't. So my assertion is that so many of the chronic complaints that we have in our bodies today, they start out as niggling complaints. If we ignore them, they move up to a diagnosis. Eventually, they move into a full-blown disease state. Every step along that way toward disease, the body is trying to tell you something. In other words, the manifestations, the symptoms of disease are messages from your body. It's time to start listening, all right? So that's what I'm here to help you do. And I did get some questions in advance. So if you do have questions, live viewers, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'm going to do my best to answer those as well. And if you're ready, I'm just going to answer the ones that were submitted in advance to my email, and I'll put that in the comments as well. If you have further follow-up questions on what I'm talking about, or just a whole other question, I answer the emailed ones first, so I'm going to invite you to make sure you submit there. Okay, without further ado, let's talk about this. Darci, number one, Darci, I get a lot of cravings during my PMS that always take me off track with my eating. Sorry. I feel like it's 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off with my bloating. I have 2 different pant sizes I have to keep in my closet to wear. I'm just so frustrated about it, and I want to lose the weight for good. What should I do? Oh, friends. Okay, I love this question, and bear with me. There are a couple of layers here that I want to address, okay, and make us aware of the layers. First thing I want to say is that the folks in my private coaching practice, we do a lot of one-on-one hand-holding with this. Hormone imbalance for women is one of the most obvious ways that your body talks to you to tell you that something is off. Okay, and I'm going to talk about what those off things are here very briefly today. Know that if you want to learn more, my Vibrant Woman course is coming up again at the end of the year, and we deep dive into this for women specifically. Okay, so what I want to talk about is this weight gain. A lot of people think that they gain fat, and what I really want to talk about is that inflammation and water retention, fluid retention, feels like weight gain in our body because it takes up space and it makes us feel bigger. And typically women don't want to feel bigger. We've been socialized to believe that the smaller, the better, which is not necessarily true. But what I am here to say is that if you feel that your body is not comfortable to you and you prefer it to be slimmer, leaner, more efficient, more flexible, then absolutely you can trust those feelings. I really want to point out here, there is a lot going on in our toxic culture around weight loss. There's a lot of that I absolutely do not support or buy into, because I don't think just everybody needs to lose weight in order to be loved and approved. Okay, so there's a lot of really bad social programming in those messages from diet culture. And we're going to leave all of that over there. It's toxic. We have to get it out. But there also is sort of a backlash against that could be equally unhealthy. And that is, okay, number one, all bodies should be loved. All bodies are good, yes. But if you feel in your body that you're carrying too much stored fat, if you have an instinct about that your body is not the right size and shape based on how you feel, then I want to say your instincts are correct. Okay? Your instincts are always correct. So if you're uncomfortable with your bloating, if your pant size doesn't fit, weight gain around the middle is the most common thing that I hear about. It is also the most obvious symptom of two things that we need to talk about. One is carbohydrate intolerance. If you don't know what that is, you need to know. I've got more information over on my website to learn about that, and a special coaching package that I help people determine their own personal carbohydrate tolerance. We've all got one. You need to know what yours is to be healthy. Okay, because carbohydrate intolerance is the root cause of so much stress and inflammation in our bodies. And that's what I want to come back to. This question about PMS. Now, PMS can be physical. It's what this person's talking about, the bloating, the weight gain. PMS is also psychological. It's not really the right word. It's neurological. It has an impact on your brain, okay? Menses is a naturally inflammatory process. In order to get rid of all of that built up lining in the uterus and shed that lining, which is the process of menstruation, it requires a certain amount of inflammatory chemicals to come on board and shed that lining. The interesting thing about it is, number one, those inflammatory hormones are not necessarily purely cell specific. They don't just inflame the tissue in your uterus. They get into your bloodstream and they inflame your brain and other aspects of your body. A lot of us will have digestive problems during that PMS time or during menstruation, and it's because of this inflammation. So I want you to know that a lot of that extra inflammation is normal. It's just a normal part of the process. Where we get into trouble is that we're walking around chronically inflamed anyway. And then you add on the extra inflammation of this, 1 week or 2 week bit of a woman's natural cycle, and it's overboard. Okay, it's too much. So here's what I like to say about this whole PMS thing. Whether your symptoms are physical and it's the bloating, or whether they are more mental, emotional, which is neurological stuff, inflammation in your brain, okay? What I want you to know is that you have the power to reduce your inflammation through your diet, through your exercise, and through your stress relief, okay? Because it's very much tied to stress. So what I want you to do is to pay attention to having a good, clean diet. That means being under your carbohydrate tolerance. It means taking in, so that's what you're not eating. You're not eating all the junk. Okay, but then what we're doing instead is eating foods that are nutrient dense. So many of us are just skimming by on a bare minimum of food-like products to sort of satisfy our taste, our sugar cravings, our low energy slumps, and our taste buds. Did I say taste already? We're missing the whole point of why we need food to begin with. You need food because you need to take in the nutrient-dense building blocks that will allow your cells to heal, repair, and replace themselves. You literally create your body with the foods that you take in. That saying you are what you eat could not be more true. It's not cliche, it's literally true. Okay, so I want you to focus on eating nutrient-dense food. What is that? That's the rainbow color of vegetables. It's high-quality proteins, and it's good, healthy fats. Now, if you need to know a little bit more specifically about those details, again, I'm going to invite you to my website. I'm going to invite you to set up a free discovery call with me where we can go a little bit deeper one-on-one based on your background knowledge, and I can help you, okay? Okay, so we need to lower the inflammation. We do it with diet. We also do it with movement. Some of us are exercising at too high of an intensity. That's the typical heart rate formulas that you hear out in the world, the 220 formulas. All of those are way too high. They have you in an anaerobic state, which is inflammatory. It's pro-stress. We need to bump that back, at least for a while, until we get some of these inflammation and stress issues under control, okay? The other thing about it is stress. Okay, hormone imbalance is so tied to stress because this has to do with adrenal fatigue. And when our adrenals are already too busy dealing with the bombardment of stress in our environments, then they can't necessarily do their job, which is to produce enough progesterone to balance the estrogen. See, a lot of us are estrogen dominant. Okay, and those adrenal glands, they can't keep up with their role in our immunity. So there's a lot going on here, which is why I really caution women against trying to take a symptomatic approach, because probably if you walk into the drugstore, you're going to see a bunch of boxes with pills in them that claim to be able to address some of these symptoms, okay? But that isn't addressing the root cause. And so hormone balance is really a beautiful, intricate dance, sort of moment by moment, day by day throughout the cycle. You should notice changes in your body through your cycle, but none of them should be debilitating, and they shouldn't necessarily mean that you have to keep different sizes of clothes around. Those are all signs that your body's trying to say something is off, and I'm going to invite you to get back to nature. Eat well, lower your stress, make sure your movement is not too intense. And I want to add this idea of sleep. Getting a good night's sleep. Not getting enough sleep is a huge cause of stress, and it definitely plays into our hormone imbalance. So I want to invite you to have some better sleep protocol. Make sure you're getting a full night's sleep in a dark room. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're learning what you can about getting a good night's sleep, staying asleep. Here's the other thing about stress. When I say stress, I'm not just talking about mental or emotional stress. I am talking about physical stress, and I'm talking about chemical stress as well. So anything that you can do to make sure that your body is more comfortable and more natural. Sitting all day is a stress, okay? Unhealthy diet is a stress. All the chemicals in your cleaning products in your house, in your personal care products in your house, heck, for some of us who are sensitive, in the paint and carpet in your house, those are all sources of stress. Now, I don't want you to, sometimes talking about all the places stress is hiding is another stress, right? Because we're worried about it. We don't know what to do about it. I don't want you to add more stress by worrying about all the places where stress are. I just want you to be aware of where they are and do what you can. So you just can do what you can. Once a month, sit down, make a stress list. Once a month, just decide you're going to tackle the biggest one and do what you can to eliminate that stress. For some of us, it's beginning to filter our water. It's beginning to take an easy walk instead of a full-on run on the treadmill. It's adding in a new vegetable and removing the donuts and coffee. So it's one step at a time. And again, in my personal private coaching program, I help women decide what those steps should be and support them in taking action step by step, by baby step at a time, to notice how all of this adds up, because it's definitely more than 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. There is exponential power in taking care of these healthy components to your lifestyle. So just want to say that. So if you are experiencing PMS, I want you to know that you're not alone. I also want you to know that actually that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. When you feel uncomfortable in your body, particularly for women around their hormone balance, I just want you to see that as a gift. I want you to see it for the gift that it is. That's your body talking to you, and you can hear her. Okay, so congratulations. That is the first step on your path to thriving. And now you can do what you can do to begin to implement some changes that will help your body to heal and allow it. So what we really are doing here, folks, is getting out of the way. We're just removing the blocks. Your body knows what to do. She's doing her best. And if we remove the things that are causing the harm, she's going to be able to take care of all of this so much more easily without needing to, tap you on the shoulder in the middle of the night and make you uncomfortable to get you to listen. Do you hear that? This is really about learning to listen to your body. And if you've got PMS symptoms and you're uncomfortable about it, you are listening. So that's the first step. Congratulations. All right. It is not easy though. And I totally understand. I relate to this. Boy, I have been there. I had such terrible hormone imbalance back when my adrenals crashed and my thyroid came down, and it is miserable. And so I'm just here to say you're not alone. And number one, it is possible to completely heal and allow your body to come back into balance, into its own rhythm. And I love my cycle. It's beautiful. It's regular. I can tell a difference between different phases. So definitely my body's talking to me, but knowing how to listen means that she doesn't have to be so loud. So the symptoms are not terrible. They're not uncomfortable anymore. They're just noticing. The noticing, okay? I hope that helps. Okay. Let's see, I did get another question. I think we have time for another one. Let's see. Number 2, Darci, I heard you talk about always eating breakfast, but when I do, I actually feel worse. A few hours later, I'm tired, more hungry, cranky, and falling asleep at my desk. Then I get cravings to eat things for lunch that I know aren't the best. I think I do better with just my coffee in the morning. That must be how I am. Okay, this was not so much of a question, but a kind of a just a comment on, yes, if you have been following me at all, you hear me talk about breakfast. I always eat breakfast. I want everyone to eat breakfast. It's the most important meal of the day because it's your opportunity. So it's the word breakfast is break fast. Okay, so you've been fasting, and a lot of really important things happen when you're fasting. A lot of healing things are happening, balancing things are happening. It's really important for stuff at a cellular level, right down to our DNA codes are all cleaned up and polished up when we're fasting, okay? Here's the thing. When you break your fast, you need to do it with the most high quality foods that you can find. And they need to be healthy fats, high quality proteins, and only as much carbohydrate as your body can tolerate. So what I see, and actually when I dug a little deeper with this person and other people like this, what I see, look around in our culture, what are you eating for breakfast? Most of us are eating a refined carbohydrate dense breakfast and no fats and no protein. And that's why the blood sugar is crashing. So these symptoms of being tired, lethargy. Sometimes that's physical energy in your body. Your body feels like it wants to lay down and go to sleep. Sometimes it's all mental, feeling tired, like you can't think straight, you can't remember anymore, your efficiency has gone out the window, your creativity is AWOL, right? And sometimes it is more neurological, and that's the cranky stuff. That's the emotional stuff. Getting, people say hangry, right? Okay, all of that is a sign of low blood sugar. Now, why? So you're saying, oh, see, I need to eat things with sugar because my blood sugar is low. No, your blood sugar is low because you're on the roller coaster. Okay, you're having glucose spikes, insulin comes out, you're having glucose crashes, you crave something sweet, and you get right back on that roller coaster. Okay, I'm going to invite you to step off of that roller coaster. That's exactly what my Vibrant Woman program does. The foundation is finding your own carbohydrate tolerance. Again, you've heard me say, if you want more help with this, come into my DMs, set up a one-on-one call with me. We'll talk more about it. But the idea is the kind of breakfast you eat absolutely matters. So in our culture, it's really common. People eat things like cereal, like oatmeal, like donuts, bagels, waffles, toast. All of that is carb dense, devoid of protein and fat. I actually advocate that people eat breakfast exactly the opposite. My favorite breakfast is sausage and eggs, and I always put some kind of vegetable with it, whether it be fried onions, a raw avocado, some peppers, garlic that I have around, any kind of vegetables left over from dinner. In fact, a leftover dinner is an ideal breakfast because it doesn't take you much time. It's already been cooked, and typically most people eat a healthier dinner than they do a breakfast. So leftover beef stew, stir-fried vegetables, anything. And I also advocate that people get ready for the time to prepare your breakfast is the night before. This saves us time, it saves us stress, it saves us from accidentally swinging through a drive-through and grabbing something that we really shouldn't have, that our body doesn't want. Okay, so the problem with this person is that they ate a carb dense breakfast. They ate a bowl of oatmeal. It had like 45 grams of carbohydrate, no fat or protein to slow down the absorption of that. Blood sugar went up. A couple hours later, blood sugar has crashed again, and they feel terrible and turn around and want something else for lunch that's going to do the same thing. So the way off this roller coaster is simply to eat a high protein, high fat breakfast. Okay. If you're interested in learning more about that, absolutely come and follow me. I share my breakfast pictures probably far too often, but I love to do it because I think it's really important. One of the people often ask me, and this is the next question, Darci, where do I start? You know, there's all these things you're asking that you're telling me could improve my life. Stress reduction, lowering inflammation. It has to do with exercise, sleep, and nutrition. Where do I start? And I always say, start where you feel most curious because those are your instincts talking. I often invite people to start with something that feels the easiest. That next baby step is a way to build momentum. Here's what worked best for me though, nutrition. And I notice for so many of my private clients, they don't have the energy, the motivation, their creativity to get any momentum going until we handle nutrition. Because the truth is, most of us are caught up in a standard American diet, which is on that blood sugar roller coaster. It's causing things like, weight gain and lethargy and depression. And we just can't seem to get going until we handle the nutrition. So I do believe in starting with nutrition first. If you're wondering, what can I do right away to get my health back on track, even to get my fitness back on track, I absolutely suggest that you start with nutrition. We got to get rid of the junk and we got to get some good nutrient dense foods in there. So that is the place to start. And what I have for you along those lines is a breakfast challenge coming up soon. Stay tuned. I don't have the dates just yet, but we're going to get together and do a breakfast challenge. I'll give you some information first. We'll talk all about what are the healthiest foods to have for breakfast, where you're going to find them, how you're going to organize yourself to make sure you can prepare them every day. And we'll come in and do a breakfast challenge and support each other and begin to take note of just how powerful of a simple change that is, and begin to create a new habit for ourselves with some community support. So if you want in on that, let me know in the DMs and I'll make sure to put you on the list and reach out when that's ready to start. Stay tuned. Let's see what else. I didn't have any other emailed questions, and I'm going to look through the comments to see if anybody here, do you have any questions? I'm not seeing any at the moment, so I am going to go ahead and let you go back to your beautiful day. It is raining here. Mother Nature is watering my garden for me, so I'm appreciating not having to carry water today. I hope that all of you are finding moments of stillness within yourself, moments to sit down and take a couple of deep breaths and put your attention inside your body and begin to just feel the life force that's there. When you can reach for that still space, you're right there with your inner voice. You're listening in, and you're going to know the next right thing to do for yourself. You're going to be able to hear what your body's asking for. Sometimes it does come as a physical manifestation, a cramp, a craving, a pain, a tightness, or as we begin to really heal, an ease and a peace and a bliss and a joy. So settle in and listen to your body. Sometimes the next right action comes as an inspired thought or a curiosity, but it always comes out of that still space. So I want to invite you there. I want to invite you to take a few minutes every day to spend that time with your beloved self and feed it well, move it, rest it, love yourselves. That's my wish for you. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll put some links in the comments. Okay. See you soon, everybody. Take very good care.